Good afternoon. In terms of speaking about the young men in this program, it's something that we are extremely proud about. The Dogs for Pups program is our movement, our initiative, and our guys have taken an awesome approach to it. They've really embraced serving this community. We're consistently trying to enhance the culture, no matter what it is. Coach Smart always talks about, putting ourselves in an uncomfortable or discomfort position to continue to grow. And when you look at it, they've really taken ownership in terms of being intentional in serving this community. And just a recap of what we were able to accomplish last year, starting with the internet drive, we were able to raise over $100,000 to give kindergarten through 8th graders internet so they can attend school virtually, which was huge for them. The snack drive, we were able to raise almost 30,000 pounds of food. When it came to the coat drive, we're talking about 437 coats donated. And for Christmas, we were able to adopt 100 families to buy Christmas presents for. So, it's been an awesome deal under the leadership of Josh Brooks and Coach Smart. I think our guys have really embraced, this responsibility, and we've empowered them to continue to serve the community. Now I take any questions.
All right, let's begin with the questions. We'll try to move rapidly to get on to the other assistant coaches as well. Let's start out with Dean Legge and then Mike Griffith.
Coach, Kirby was talking about the development of players, mental development, mental toughness, and so forth. How big an offseason is this for George specifically? He's had some stuff in the past where he's kind of the water squirting and so forth. How big a deal, though, is it for George to progress off the field, on the field, on that front?
Well, it's just one of a continued growth and maturity, and he has embraced it. And when you look at our entire team, when you talk about altruism, I think there's this aura of selflessness, just this positive vibe, which is really, continued to grow. It's really shined brighter. And so for him, he's embraced that. And so I'm looking forward to how he continues to move forward.
Coach, I'll ask you about another player that kind of came on towards the end of last year. A lot of people excited about Arian Smith. Last night, Eric Stokes officially declared that he is indeed the fastest guy in the program. Where is Arian at, and what skills does he need to add, to be a more effective receiver?
Well, just like any young receiver, just understanding the technique of how to play the position, continue to grow from a football awareness and a knowledge of the playbook and how he fits in a grand scheme of things. And he's really embraced this his offseason. As you look at it with really all of our guys, we didn't have opportunity with spring football last year. And, now these guys get to learn off of cut-ups from last year of what we put on tape. And so that's really big with all our guys. And we're looking for Arian to continue to grow, as a receiver.
All right, let's go to Seth Emerson and then Anthony Dasher.
Cortez, you could probably talk a longer time about this, so sorry for such a wide-ranging question. But with everything that happened last summer with racial and social justice awareness, did that become an important point for you and Kirby to talk, and people within the program to talk about what you could do, and how do you? Is there an effort to continue that so it wasn't just a 2020 thing?
Absolutely. With our guys, it's not just about developing them from academic standpoint or athletically. We want to make sure that we give them a platform to express their feelings. And it's also about education and providing awareness. And that's the only way that we can impact any type of change. It's one, educating and making sure people are aware of what's going on in this country. And also just, acknowledging it. We all have the right to feel a certain way. And we want to make sure we embrace each other's opinions.
Hey, Coach, I want to ask you just a little bit about Demetrius Robertson. Of course, he's going to take advantage of the waiver rule and come back. Hadn't really quite, lived up to, maybe fans' expectations for him. But what do you still see what he can do to help your program, help your receivers?
I think D-Rob brings a veteran presence to our room. He's a guy who has versatility because he can play multiple positions. He also embraces his role on special teams. So from that standpoint, when we talk about some of the things about being selfless, he displays that every single day, with his actions. And so when you have a guy who's willing to come back and, and really embrace his role on his team, and he's going to continue to compete, you got to be excited about it.
All right, let's go to Jake Rowe and then Mark Weiser.
Sorry, it took me a second to get unmuted there. Coach Hankton, when you look at your bringing back so many guys, Kirby talked about it a minute ago, how it's just not, a guarantee of success. But at the same time, it's probably better than bringing back nobody. How are you feeling about all the guys that you are bringing back and the guys and what they were able to show you, guys like Kieris and Jermaine Burton, and having that continuity there from year to year?
Well, it's definitely huge because you're in a situation where you have the opportunity to be under the same offense coordinator going into the second season. And so that being in itself, these guys are going to have the opportunity to continue to get better. Now, granted, we are talented and you see some flashes of some things, but, we have to become more consistent at the position. And there are some things that we can improve on. And so we can't be complacent and comfortable just because we have the skill set to perform at a high level. We need to make sure day in and day out, we compete and be very intentional about getting better on the things that we can improve on.
Cortez, when you talk about getting better, you guys obviously went up against Florida last season, Alabama, teams with very explosive offenses. Given that it's a second year for you guys with Coach Monken, how much does that kind of raise the bar to keep getting better and being more productive?
Well, it just goes back to taking it one day at a time. We learn from the things that, we didn't do well last year. As a staff, we look over some things like what can we improve on? How can we get better? And we just try to apply that to how we move forward, whether it's in our off-season strength and conditioning program, the things we're doing from a mental standpoint, or when we get on the grass in terms of the football concepts. There are always going to be areas in where we can improve. And, that's something that we want to continue to push forward. The only thing we can worry about right now is how, we perform in a team run the next day. And then when spring ball gets here, we're going to attack that in a different manner. But, the thing that's going to remain consistent is that every single day we're trying to improve in something.
All right, let's go to Chip Towers and then Roddy Nabulsi.
Yeah, Coach, I just assumed you touched on the snacks and the Wi-Fi and the coats and the Christmas families. Is there another initiative waiting around the corner this spring?
Yeah, well, we're current in the planning phase of providing program, just really providing education for our guys on local charities and what they're trying to accomplish. Also identifying immediate needs where we can make the biggest impact. There is an aspect where we want to do some mentoring. Now, of course, there's always the restrictions and the challenges with COVID, but also trying to find a way that we can organize and do that from a virtual standpoint. Because, anytime we connect our guys with the youth and just to be that positive role model for them, I think that speaks to one of the values that we always talk about, and that's the connections piece and just finding ways to connect to the community. So we have some things on the horizon, and we'll be able to reveal them in the next couple of weeks.
Coach, you spoke at length about some of the initiatives your guys are doing and some of the great works and philanthropic issues that they're involved in. Can you give me two questions here? One, can you give me how you teach them to take that beyond the local community? A lot of that seems to be Athens located because that's where they are. How do they take that back home with them? And two, can you give us some names of these guys, who's kind of spearheaded this? I mean, I'm not telling you to not do each and every one of them, but can you give us a couple names of the guys who really kind of stepped up for this?
Well, first, we're talking about some things that we want to roll out and just finding ways to expand it, outside of Clark County. We do want to touch as many people as we can in this great state of Georgia. The next part is, in terms of the individuals, we look at this thing collectively, and we have a bunch of guys that have been involved. You think about some of our veteran leadership, whether it's Jamari or Kieris who really embraced it, but it's so many more guys that we can discuss and talk about. Because this is something that our guys came up, they wanted to do this. They wanted to embrace the opportunity to give back and serve the communities, and so, I'm proud of the guys for even coming up with this.
Okay, we're going to take just maybe two more questions. Let's go to Connor Riley and then Brandon Sudge.
Hey, Cortez, 2-year wide receivers, Dominic Blaylock and Marcus Rosemy-Jackson. They both suffered season-ending injuries last season. Where are they sort of at physically and even more importantly so, I think, mentally, given, they had to deal with those injuries on top of everything else that 2020 threw at them?
Well, physically, they're, Ron Course and our training staff have done an amazing job, with those guys. They came, they're working to come back. We do have a return to play protocol and, they're right on schedule. But from a mental standpoint, they'll be awesome. In terms of being positive and just having the energy to fight to come back and being around the guys and helping any way that they can. Those guys are definitely two of the more just positive football savvy guys to especially help the younger guys. So any way that they've been able to help from a mental standpoint in terms of coaching the younger guys up has been a huge plus for us.
Hey, Cortez, following up on Seth's question from earlier. So, from a personal standpoint, as you saw everything unfold over the summer last year, how did that hit you personally, and how did that motivate you to kind of want to be an architect of these efforts and help out with all these efforts? Well,
when you see some of the things that occurred, emotionally, there's a wave of different emotions, from anger, hurt, frustration. When those things come up, you try to find a way to really redirect it in a positive manner. And the way that we best felt to do that was to really provide an open forum for our guys just to clearly communicate their emotions, because I knew how I felt. And we wanted those guys to feel be comfortable in a space where they can talk about anything that they want to. And, through that, it has really helped our team become closer. When you're talking about a connection with each other, really understanding a background of, where guys came from, understanding their why in terms of the motivation of, why they play this game, I think that part is huge. And so, as we grow together, we continue to impact the people around us in a positive manner.
Thank you, Coach Hankton, for your time. And